Hi, it's Laura at Aquamarine18 Tarot and Books. Thanks for stopping by my channel today. Welcome or welcome back. This is another installment of Top Tarot Trumps, a tag by Masha over at Musings by Masha, wherein we are invited to share our favorites of each of the major arcana cards, sharing one every couple of weeks or so. This time I'm sharing my favorite Empresses in my collection, and I have managed this time to stick to 5, which is my goal for this tag, throughout the installments of this tag, but clearly already is a goal that I've failed to meet once. So, it'll be usually 5, but occasionally perhaps a little more. So I have 5 Empress cards here. Before I get into sharing them, I will mention, the Empress is a card that I can struggle with a lot of the depictions of. I have talked elsewhere in other videos on my channel, including I think a dedicated video about it, about my struggle with the many depictions of the Empress as pregnant and the tendency for the Empress to be depicted as pregnant, and the only pregnant card in a deck, the rarity with which pregnancy is depicted in any other card, and it being, always put into the Empress, or almost always put into the Empress. I think that there can definitely be some reductive, biologically essentialist, sexist stereotyping that can happen with the Empress, and so it is one that I look to when I'm considering getting a deck. It is one that can make or break a deck for me, and I would say that the Empresses that I've chosen to share are definitely kind of on the less traditional side of things. I like these 5 for different reasons, and I'm looking forward to sharing them with you. The first one that I chose is the Empress from the Darkness of Light Tarot by Tony DeMoro. This is an older edition of this deck. I'm not sure the kind of in-print status of this deck. I believe it's in print, but it has gone through a couple of iterations with different colored borders and things like that. So this Empress I think is beautiful. You can see the Empress here is playing an instrument out in nature, barefoot, and a bird is landing there on the edge of this stringed instrument that the Empress is playing, and there are other birds around the Empress, including one on the knee there and a couple on either side. And the Empress is sitting by the water in a forest. And what I love about this is that, for a card associated with creativity, and creative growth, and I think connection to nature, perhaps nature-inspired creativity, what better thing than to have someone engaged in an artistic practice in the card? She's doing something. She's doing something artistic and creative out in nature. And it's surprising to me how infrequently this is the case on an Empress card, given, what I think of as kind of perhaps the common keywords of the Empress, which I would think of as creativity, abundance, perhaps generative, nature-based. There's something to me so obvious about depicting the Empress engaged in making art, and making art outside in particular. So there's something really brilliant about this that I wish I saw more of. And the paintings in this deck are just beautiful. So that's a definite favorite. I also chose the Queen Mother from Dust to Onyx. This is by Courtney Alexander, as I'm sure everyone knows. I love that this Empress is out in nature. You can see the green leafy background here. I love that she is adorned with flowers. I love that, at least from the parts that we can see of her, she is nude out in nature in her natural state. I love how peaceful. Her expression is very serene, but very regal as well with this crown. And I want to share a little bit from the guidebook for this one. This is a really good guidebook for dust to onyx. And I'm not going to read the whole thing because you get a lot in this for each card. But I will just share a little bit of what Courtney Alexander has to say about this specific depiction. And this is, again, not the whole page. This is just a little bit out of the middle. Quote, Queen Mother is not only partner to the chief is the emperor in this deck, but also an advocate for her people. Today in Ghana, West Africa alone, there exist 10,000 Queen Mothers. In the Kingdom of Benin, the Queen Mother is essential to the well-being and protection of the Oba, or the king, and by extension, the entire kingdom. She nurtures and cultivates through outreach, as well as with educational, environmental, and health programs and organizations. On a national level, the Queen Mother is a strategist who campaigns for issues that affect those beyond the borders of her community. Her message is value yourself. Value the life you have. Seek things that are beautiful, free, and open. Nurture those around you and share the highest expression of love you have to offer. Nestled in this bosom is a great Venusian energy that becomes the source of all your endeavors. Play, love, grow, and cultivate the best within yourself and the world around you. The lusciousness of your inner garden will pollinate others. This is the message of the Queen Mother. I love this. I love this. You get the aspects of creativity, connection to environmental action, which I think is interesting, valuing life. And I think of the Empress as a very life-affirming card. And I like how Courtney Alexander talks about that in the guidebook, and I just think that she's really beautiful. So that's a favorite. For the next favorite, I chose a deck that is very, very new to my collection, but that I've really been enjoying a lot. And that is the Tarot for the Great Outdoors. And this one is depicting Olympic National Park. All of the majors depict a specific park. Some of the minors do too, but only the majors have it written on the card. So you can see her just kind of taking a break from the hike, presumably. And you get the Venus symbol as well as some patches, other patches on the figure's backpack. And, the stars are in the bandana there. If I could get a focus, there we go. So the stars are there. Got her hiking boots on. And I love this Empress for just how relatable it is. And I find this deck very relatable overall as someone who likes hiking and camping and swimming and, any kind of outdoor activities. This deck just depicts a lot of things that I like to engage in, in ways that feel relevant to me. And so, the aspect of connecting to nature that the Empress brings, I think comes through really beautifully in this particular card. Again, she looks very peaceful and at home, in the outdoors. And I just like I like the little nods, like the little Venus patch on the backpack, little nods to traditional depictions without being too limited by those things. It fits into the theme of the deck really well. And I just think that that's really beautiful. Really beautiful depiction. And feels really active, because while the figure is resting, it's clearly kind of in the midst of an outdoor activity, which I also like. A lot of Empresses for me can feel kind of static. And so, liking the one in the Darkness of Light that's playing an instrument, I feel kind of similarly about this one. It also speaks to active engagement with the natural environment in ways that I really like. The next one I chose is from one of my favorite decks of all time, and that is the Empress from the Naturescapes Tarot by Tina of Queen of Wands. And I know from the little white book that you can download that goes with this deck that this photo was taken in Vietnam. And I just love how lush and green this Empress card is. I really like that you get, this kind of outdoor landscape that is, very natural and green and leafy and fertile. But there's also aspects of human engagement with nature here, human cultivation. I'm not sure how clearly it will show on the video, but certainly there are here some sectioned out fields and some dwellings depicted there. So thinking about living with the environment in harmonious ways, being surrounded by the beauty of the environment. Cultivation. Cultivation could be a keyword for the Empress to me. Under this beautiful sky. I just think this image is beautiful. And a really good pick for the Empress, I think. I think that this deck is really well curated. I think all of Tina's decks are, but this is really beautiful. And for my last Empress that I picked, this is one that is renamed, and also another one that doesn't have a human depicted in it. I picked the Empress from the Slow Holler Tarot, which is called the Kindred. And it depicts a kind of outdoor kitchen, stone kitchen oven there, with various animals all around. There's squirrels at the top on top of the clothesline. There's some cows there. Yeah, and you can see on the bottom there's a little kind of wooden bridge over top of a little stream. There's a picnic basket there. This amazing outdoor scene. And I want to read from the guidebook for this one as well, because this is a wonderful guide. This is my favorite guidebook, I think, perhaps of any. And this brings a different spin to the Empress, I think, than what is always given. But it makes sense as an Empress to me, but it's also quite different than any other Empress that I can think of. Okay. The Kindred glows with the loving energy of abundance, comfort, and nourishment. Think of steam rising from a tea kettle, from your own warm breath. It's an invitation to feel grounded, to drift off as someone you love is singing in the other room. Here is the place where we gather, where we find and create home. Your kindred may be your kinfolks or family, whether of origin, of choice, extended, or circumstantial. They are your friends, your people, your crew, those who hold space for you, those who nurture, cherish, and honor you, and who you nurture, cherish, and honor in return. Here we feel abundance like a home-cooked meal with plenty of leftovers. The Kindred evokes senses, smells, tastes, and textures. It celebrates living in harmony with natural rhythms and cycles in connection with the earth, among plants, animals, humans, and fungi. Amidst this joyful riot, we experience a vibrant health and vigor. Secure in our trust in those around us, all that we bring forth will be blessed. In our lives, the warm, receptive energy of home may not correlate to our families of origin, nor to a particular notion of gender. The Kindred reminds us that we were all born to belong, that even amidst our ramshackle lives, we all have a place. Wherever we find the energy of home, of welcome, of harmony, of abundance, we find the Kindred. So I love that this depiction of the Empress has that connection to the natural environment, to the fungi and the plants and the animals. And I love this kind of multi-species family, as a sense of what the Kindred card depicts. And I love the idea of linking this card so strongly to the senses and to sensory experience, to the kind of physicality of the Empress I really like as well. So that's why this one is one of my top 5 favorite Empresses. Those are my Empresses. Thank you so much for watching. If you have a favorite Empress, do share in the comments below. If you have any of these Empresses, do share your thoughts. Again, my 5 favorites that I've shared are the Darkness of Light Tarot, the Dust to Onyx Tarot, the Tarot of the Great Outdoors, the Naturescapes Tarot, and the Slow Holler Tarot. I will see you all again soon. I wish you well. Have a good one.